You think it's your enemy, but it's not. Resistance is not the enemy of artists. Disconnection, that feeling of suffering, that, oh, I'll never get ahead, the mean thoughts, the doubt, the overthinking. You think that is the enemy, and I'm telling you, that is not the enemy at all. The enemy is lack of knowledge of how to handle it. Now, I've talked a lot in here about how resistance is part of the creative process, and I'm going to talk about it again and again and again and again, because it is the thing that torments creatives the most. Look, we are all sensitive creatures. Why? Because we have to be the observers of life. We observe, we witness, we feel, we accumulate the feeling of others, what's going on in the room, in the world around us. It's a lot to be a creative. So if the resistance is naturally wrapped up in creativity, and we're the creatives, we're going to feel it really, really, really keenly. I had a catch up this week with an artist in the Geelong area where I live. She's an artist, she's a curator, she's an arts therapist, and she teaches art. Like, amazing, amazing. We're having this wonderful conversation. I said something that really stopped her in her tracks. And it was that artists think that suffering is part of the process. Suffering is not part of the process. And I said to her, but what's fascinating is resistance is only there to help the artist and to help the artwork. She was like, but when I saw her face, it was like, oh, is that unusual? Is that an unusual thing to say? Coming from a mystical, spiritual perspective, that's bang on correct. It's actually there to help you. It's like fine tuning. And it made me think of a teaching that I heard a lot in my lengthy spiritual education. Anyway, by a 20th century saint in Europe. He was a mystical saint. And he would say that there are three forces, and we always had it as first force, second force, and third force. Basically, as I've said before, there's an idea. That idea will hang around for a while, like you'll work on it, and then you'll complete it or abandon it, or something will happen, but it will come to an end. Now, another way of looking at that is that there is the idea, and the idea has an equal weight force. It's like an opposing force. So the first one is affirming. The opposing force is denying. It's denying your ability to move forward, your ability to just keep going. So pushing on is, actually, no, that's the enemy to creativity. Pushing on. Oh my God. As I always say, show up, yes. Push or force, creative thuggery. It's silly because we are talking about something which is inherently spiritual in nature. And so we have to treat it that way. And then that way, we move in harmony with it. We're moving in harmony with the creative force, the creative nature moving through us. So there's a denying force, aka the block, the resistance, the doubt, the overthinking, the pain that comes from that, which is our response to it. That part we can easily take care of. But so we have to learn, well, what could be going on here? And I teach that in the Artist's Return. I teach excellent examples. I was going through it last night with an artist, actually, and helping her with the Artist's Return and going through exactly the language that is used. How do we find out what is going on? It's always an inner thing. So look, it could be timeline, it could be money issues, it could be skill issues, it could be that more of the idea needs to be refined. It needs to be, refined and purified a lot more. There's something missing. You could be using the wrong medium. it might not just be time for it, to be honest. And then what do we do when that's the case? When the block seems to go for an extended amount of time, there's still a way to handle that. There's still a way to be, to allow it to do what it needs to do. You certainly don't force it. And all of this is helping us grow in awareness. It is a thing about consciousness and being conscious. Honestly, I call it clear space creation. I could really also call it conscious creation. So in conscious creation, we go within and we work out the subtle, the movement of creative energy. What does it want? I know for me recently, last year, I was pushing my art really hard. And I kind of hit a wall with that. Art does not like to be forced. It doesn't like to be forced. So if you're pushing it and forcing it, trying to make sales from it, that kind of, you'll often hit a wall. And I did. And I know all this stuff, but I was surprised. That's a wall I'd never hit before. So it was new to me. And because I knew then, okay, brushes down. Brushes down. Let's give this a break. What's more important right now? And this work popped up. This is more important, sharing this work. But the lovely thing that happened was and it was so subtle, it was like on a subconscious level. I never realized I was thinking this, but somehow I started thinking, will this be perceived the right way? Will people stop walking past my work going, will they like it? And that's a deadly thought. That was an unskillful thought, but actually I wasn't conscious of the fact that had buried itself deep inside. And so the beautiful thing of giving it a break and giving it some space is now I'm just creating for myself, which is the right approach, and almost giggling with delight, like giving myself permission to do that thing that I like to do, and the thing that people often ask questions, why is that there? I don't create for anything other than creatives have to create. That's what we do. And when I come home to that, always bringing it back to that, that often provides the third force, which is reconciling. There's some kind of reconciling that goes on. That's the smart place to be, the reconciling. They're the three forces, and they totally match what I've been talking about. You know, we've got this idea, and then we start it, and then something happens, like the wheels fall off, and the enemy there is ignorance. It's not knowing how to handle it. But somehow when we just make those little inner shifts, it all just starts moving again. It's better than before. So it really is rectified. It really is adjusted. It really is working in our favor. There you go. That's my message for today. It is not about psychology or art therapy. I love those things. Don't get me wrong. And mindset, this is just a layer deeper and will really help aid those processes if you're working within them. And if you'd like a taste of this work, I have a free 15 minutes guided meditation on a practice from my tradition that you might find really interesting, a bit of fun anyway. It's just a taster, and see how you go, just to get you back in touch with your creative energy and help it start moving again.